developments today were that Nicolas Maduro spoke and addressed directly to what Trump said over the weekend about considering military options in Venezuela. This speech only gave Maduro and his socialist government more material to continue radicalizing the anti-imperialist speech and, of course, radicalizing their raids against the opposition. Today, Maduro said that the Truth Commission, which is part of the new Constituent Assembly, should open legal actions against those who were supporting Trump's intervention in Venezuela, which is an excuse to further continue going after opposition leaders in Venezuela. Let's remember that in the past couple weeks, at least 5 opposition mayors were sent to jail. And even though that we can't see right now big demonstrations on the streets, we can see any more of those protests that we were seeing for the past 5 months. Still, the situation is very tense in Caracas, and you can feel how polarization has become more evident than ever in the country.
Yes, this is a critical point. I want you to go deeper on this. You know, it sounds as if the Trump government in some ways has played into Maduro's hands here, you know, creating some legitimacy for a government that's under intense domestic pressure.
Yeah, of course. These kind of words from Trump are very strong in how Venezuela is right now. It's gonna, of course, make Maduro much more stronger within their own ranks, as it's kind of giving an excuse to continue this kind of speech. And also the fact that the opposition presented today candidates for new elections, it's kind of giving Maduro some legitimacy in what they've been doing for the past months and years in the country. The opposition said that the Electoral Council was fraudulent, was a fraud, after they put out the Constituent Assembly vote, and now they are submitting their own candidates for the elections. They claim that it's because they cannot abandon any political space or any democratic space in the country, but in some way they're giving some legitimacy to the country, to the government, sorry.
Now, it's correct, Noris, is it not, that the Maduro government will have a say in selecting the candidates who will stand for election? So the fact that the opposition may want to claim that space, they may not be allowed access to it.
Yeah, that's correct. The government said last week, of course, Diosdado Cabello, one of the biggest socialist figures in Venezuela, said that they will have to seek a good conduct letter from the Constituent Assembly, which means the Constituent Assembly will have a say in whether who runs or not. They will have a say if they can or can't, or who can go to the elections, which means they are cutting more and more spaces for the opposition in the country, more political spaces. But, well, you know that the political game has to go on, and opposition has to participate in order to keep fighting to defend those little and few spaces that they have left.
Noris, just a final question. You know, from the outside, the sense would be, you know, why aren't the Venezuelan people on the streets in the hundreds of thousands to rid themselves of this government, which has plunged them into economic and political chaos? Why is that simply not happening?
Well, it's a very tough question to answer. Let's remember that in the past 18 years, that Chavez was alive and created this socialist system. He gave many, many things to the poorest, to the poor people, like the social missions. They gave food, they gave money, and so there's still many people who support that model, that political model. And then you have Nicolas Maduro, who was practically appointed by Chavez himself, and Chavez was worshipped here in Venezuela. So there's a lot of people who still support him and support this socialist political model. And also you see a lot of corruption within their own ranks, but somehow they've managed to still pay in the international debt, their international commitment. So they've been avoiding Venezuela to go to default, even though they have people starving here in Venezuela. But it's just more an ideal thing than a practical thing, okay? Venezuela, it's a very passionate, kind of proud They will follow whoever talks to their heart, to their mind, rather than than a rational way. So that's why, and also there's a lot of fear in some of the opposition supporters. The government has everything, has the arms, has the military, they control the food, they control everything. So you have both elements. You have the element of the passion and the worshiping Chavez and of course Maduro, and then you have another part who is really, really afraid of being killed or being more repressed than they have been this year.